In the previous episode, we witnessed the baptism of Clovis, the moment when sword and cross united to create a new political and spiritual order. But this baptism did not just bring salvation, it ignited a war. Clovis's Franks, now under the banner of Catholicism, were on a collision course with the Arian Visigoths led by Alaric II. In the distance, Theodoric the Great, king of the Ostrogoths, watched with concern, trying to prevent Europe from descending into chaos. The year is 507 after Christ. The city of near Poitiers will become the stage where the fate of Gaul will be decided. In this episode, you will experience the story from three perspectives: Clovis the Conqueror, seeking to consolidate his power and the Catholic faith; Alaric the Defender, fighting to protect his people and their lands; Theodoric the Mediator, trying to prevent war from consuming the entire region. And we will see, minute by minute, what this battle meant for the future of Europe, how strategies, decisions, and tactical moves, even on the flanks of the field, shaped the fate of kingdoms and the formation of the nations that would come after. Prepare to immerse yourself in a story of blood, courage, and conviction. And the Middle Ages takes a new course. Welcome to the Fall of Thrones. This will change the way you see the past. Perspective 1. Clovis I, the conqueror. Clovis's inner voice: God gave me victory over the Romans. Now he calls me to a new challenge. Baptism was not just an act of faith. It was a pact, and this pact demands that Gaul be mine. In the days leading up to the battle, Clovis gathered his generals in secret. Maps lay spread out on stone tables, hands traced movements, voices discussed strategy, failing to find consensus. Some warriors still hesitated, bound by pagan traditions, distrustful of their own faith. Clovis could not waver. Clovis's objectives: break Visigothic power in Gaul, establish Frankish and Catholic supremacy, secure his borders, and consolidate the newly baptized kingdom. Strategies and tactics: heavy cavalry would attack the Visigothic right flank, creating confusion. Central infantry would maintain constant pressure. A contingent hidden in the forest waited to surround the enemy once the line was broken. Clovis thought, if God is with me, who can be against me? The Visigoths will fall and Gaul will be Catholic, or it will be ashes. Perspective to Alaric II, the Defender. Alaric inner voice: Clovis calls me a heretic, but it was my people who saved Rome when it fell. Now he wants my lands, my faith, and the blood of my men will be the price. Alaric walks through his camp. Soldiers adjust their armor, sharpen blades, and murmur Arian prayers. The Roman Visigothic aristocracy watches with wary eyes, torn between fear of Clovis and insecurity about Alaric's leadership. Alaric's goals: maintain the integrity of the Visigothic kingdom, protect the lands of Gaul before they are taken by the Franks, preserve the Arian faith among his people's. Strategies and tactics: infantry in a defensive line, with archers protecting each flank, mobile cavalry ready to intercept encirclement attempts, strategic reserves hidden behind high ground, ready to exploit enemy gaps. Alaric shouts to his generals: they want our faith, they want our blood, but here, we will fight like lions. Perspective 3. Theodoric, the mediator. Theodoric calm voice: the Franks and Visigoths are my allies, but if they destroy each other, Rome will fall forever. He sent letters, messengers, and gold to try to broker a truce. Each return brought tension and distrust. Nothing changed. War was inevitable. Theodoric's goals: avoid an allowed war that would destroy the region, protect Ostrogothic interests, preserve essential political and trade alliances for the future. He examines maps, analyzing possible flank attacks, weak points, and escape routes. But nothing can stop the approaching storm. Theodoric murmurs: the fate of Gaul will be decided in blood. May God have mercy on all. Climax: the Battle of Vouillé. Dawn brought silence, broken only by the cold wind and the distant shouts of the sentries. Soon after, the thunder of war explodes over the field. Opening movements: Clovis orders the heavy cavalry to advance on the Visigothic right flank, riding in a steady line, raising dust, causing panic, and breaking the initial enemy formations. The Frankish infantry maintained central pressure, shields raised against arrows and spears, slowly pushing back the Visigothic line. A contingent hidden in the nearby forest waits silently, ready to surround any resistance that tries to flee or reinforce the left flank. Alaric reacts quickly. His cavalry sets up a mobile defense on the left flank, trying to contain the Frankish advance. Archers positioned high on the hill fire incessantly, seeking to slow the enemy advance. Strategic reserves remain behind the central line, waiting for gaps to counterattack. Narrator: the lines intertwine. Arrows slice through the air. Flashes of blades reflect the sun. Shouts of orders mingle with the clash of weapons. The field becomes a maze of dust, blood, and fire. Rising tension. The Frankish cavalry begins to surround the Visigothic left flank, tightening the siege. Alaric reorganizes his forces, but the ground, soaked from recent rain, slows each movement. Clovis seizes his opportunity. He concentrates his entire central force, while the forest reserve emerges to envelop the Visigoths. Clovis leading the charge, shouting commands, Alaric trying to reorganize his troops, visibly tense. Theodoric, watching from afar, sends messengers, helpless. In the center of the field, the final clash occurs. Clovis and Alaric advance with the full force of their armies, each pressing the other. Sword against sword, the blows echo like thunder, raising sparks and torn banners. The duel is intense. Clovis, fueled by faith and conviction in his mission, attacks with surgical precision. Alaric defends with skill and courage, but the pressure of the Frankish cavalry on his right flank pushes him back. The Visigoth infantry tries to hold the line, but begins to give way. Hidden reserves clash with the Franks in the forest, but Clovis's numerical and strategic superiority prevails. One final blow. The air seems to stop. Clovis's sword finds its fatal point. Alaric falls slowly, his eyes fixed on the Frankish banner fluttering in the wind. The Visigothic army hesitates. The left flank collapses. Banners fall, staffs broken, symbols of a kingdom crumbling. Soldiers weep, kneel, and carry the wounded. The field is now a sea of dust, blood, and smoke. Clovis remains standing, exhausted, surveying the extent of the victory. Gaul is in his hands. The echoes of this battle will echo for generations, marking the birth of a new era. Close-up of Alaric fallen, expression of acceptance and defeat. Visigoth flags tumbling, some ablaze, fluttering in the wind. Closing the legacy of Clovis. Clovis triumphed. But the battle marked more than just the fall of Alaric or territorial expansion. It sealed the future of Gaul, uniting peoples under the banner of Catholicism and strengthening the Merovingian dynasty. The king, now consecrated by both sword and faith, consolidated a kingdom that would be remembered for centuries. After Clovis continued to rule with firmness, expanding borders, defeating rivals, and maintaining the unity of his people. Under his reign, Catholicism became a pillar of society, and his alliances with the Church shaped the political structure that, centuries later, would help form what we now know as France. In 511 AD, Clovis passed away, leaving the throne divided among his 4 sons, who would continue the Merovingian dynasty. The Merovingian kingdom, now fragmented, saw its central power weaken. Over time, the Merovingian kings became known as the Do-Nothing Kings, leaving governance in the hands of the mayors of the palace. Administrative positions that would later give rise to the Carolingian dynasty. But that is a story for upcoming videos. Follow our channel and don't miss the episodes that shaped the Middle Ages. The legacy of Clovis's conquests was not only in the lands he conquered, but in the seeds of a new Europe, a Christian and united Europe, which would flourish in the decades to come. Ending plus next episode, his baptism and his alliance with the Catholic Church not only consolidated the power of the Franks, but also paved the way for an even greater transformation. The rise of monasticism and spiritual life in the Middle Ages, far from crowns and armies, in search of silence, discipline, and spirituality. In the next episode of Fall of Thrones, the year is 529 after Christ. While kings fought wars over lands and crowns, one man chose a different destiny, Saint Benedict of Nursia, a Roman noble who turned away from power and embraced solitude. His choices would shape medieval spirituality and give birth to the rule of Saint Benedict, a monastic code that would preserve knowledge, educate generations of monks, and lay the foundations of Christian faith in Europe. If you want to discover the real Middle Ages, without fiction, without romanticization, subscribe, activate the notifications, and join us. Because history is not only made by great kings but by real people, facing impossible choices. Next episode, 529 after Christ, the rule of Saint Benedict.